Hey there, my name is Valhallen, and welcome back to How to Build, where today we'll be going over how to shift a viewer's attention in a building. Actually, getting people to not look at or to divert their attention towards something in a building can be pretty difficult, which is why, in my own personal opinion, it works better on a larger scale. But there are a number of different ways you can make people avert their eyes from anything, on almost any scale, if you're clever enough. One of the better ways is something I went over in a previous video: gradients. Things that naturally draw the viewer's eyes from one spot to the next. Gradients, you see, work in funny little ways with perception, and because of the way a gradient actually works, your eyes want to see the lighter parts of a building or area when working with or viewing them. So the eyes drift away from the darker colors and towards the slowly transitioning lighter. That is, if you're working on doing something similar to that with your gradient. Otherwise, the main color or shade you want the viewer to see should be more prominent from where it's being observed. If you don't do that, then your eyes will just kind of stick to whatever color your brain deems brighter. Next is the classic go away green method, something Disney actually uses in their theme parks to make guests not pay any mind to things like electrical boxes, benches, trash cans, warehouses, and things like that. What is actually happening is certain things or areas are painted a particular color, and because of that, you're more likely to miss it at first glance. The color of whatever item or building is painted doesn't actually have to be green, but more of a blur of the surrounding colors in general, or at least the same color of the background. But otherwise, this go away green method makes areas with more greenery more likely to have green objects that people naturally look over, not realizing that in between those two plants right there is a redstone contraption, button, door, or a mistake you didn't want people to notice. All because it's roughly the same color as the bushes, trees, and greenery surrounding it. The same thing goes with blue. Making something the color of the sky isn't unheard of when wanting viewers to not notice a building that's actually taller or more visible than intended. Perspective is also another way to look at it. It's very possible and easy to hide things by regularly checking if, from the intended angle, you cannot see an undesired detail or behind-the-scenes shenanigans. This works because from that point of view or range, you can't see whatever it is you don't want viewers to look at all in the best of cases. In fact, I've done something similar with this a few years ago when building a set from a movie. It was designed so that while walking on the path like you're supposed to, you couldn't see the copied statue from the side previous. On the topic of perspective, forced perspective is also a handy tool in drawing attention away or towards something. Making a build smaller or slimmer makes it seem suddenly taller or a lot farther than it actually is. When designing a build smaller, actually, it's more likely to seem like it's in the background and thus making your eyes skip over it sometimes. While all the while, you might want to look up at a building that looks a lot taller than it actually is because it's slimmer, making you ignore some of the ground below. Tunnel vaults and vaulted ceilings can also apply to this, making the room feel grander so your eyes naturally drift up and not pay too much attention to the floor. Certain colors can also stand out more than others, making you want to look at the brighter, more distracting, or contrasting colors more than the duller areas of a build. Red is a particularly good example of this, as in most settings it stands out more to us and our eyes focus on that color. White is also a good color in certain cases, since white space is something that we can focus on more without realizing. But this does kind of go back to gradients and the viewer's eyes being more attracted to lighter or more outstanding colors. It's something to take into consideration when designing a block palette, for example. Which blocks can be used to deeply contrast another in an area to avert a viewer's eyes away from something. But otherwise, I sure do hope that you all enjoyed today's episode of How to Build, and in the meantime, I am gonna say this episode did take a little bit longer than normal, mainly just due to the fact that there is a lot of different ways to shift attention in building, and I figured I'd just go over the very bare basics of it, mainly just because there's dozens of different ways. These are the ones that you should know about. Anyway, see you all in the next video, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day and or night, morning, evening, afternoon, and until next time, bye!